And at that point, Snow was almost completely ineffectual unless he could land a good equalizer in fights. And that never happened because people just kept getting picked off, as a result of the team composition that came out of Logitech. But, this game, it's a new game. PKP are on blue side, and the bans are coming out very quick. Janna and Irelia, same first two bans, same two teams banning them. Nothing too surprising so far, Munch.
No, we'll have to see if PKP can change up their team composition this game. Obviously, we discussed it quite in depth last game, how their composition was a lot of magic damage, and it allowed the enemy top laner, who playing Gnar, CCB was able to just build purely magic resist. He knew that illusion wasn't a threat to him on that Rengar because Rengar does not want to focus your tank. Gnar is never a target that Rengar wants to focus, so he was able to just build purely magic resist and basically tank everyone up without having to commit any money into armor. So hopefully PKP will have reassessed that and sort of worked out how they can change up their team composition to make it a little bit more, or a little bit less counterable.
Yeah, that's definitely something they need to consider. And, obviously, we didn't realize this at first, but this is on the 4.19 patch. And in that patch, double AP is a lot less effective than it is on the current 4.20 patch due to the things that we were talking about earlier with the changes to magic resist itemization and that sort of thing. And going for that double AP comp meant that if they could get ahead early, mages do a lot of damage if they get ahead. That's one of the selling points of having an AP carry on your team. If you look at the meta, it's so firmly cemented in our minds right now that the idea of not having, some kind of assassin-y mage on your team at all is a little bit weird. And by that I mean even something like Zed can kind of be considered a mage because he comes in and just bursts you, right? But there was a time when the meta wasn't so concrete, and we didn't necessarily see that thing coming in. But nowadays, it's there every game. There's someone to provide that burst in the mid game every game because it's so useful. And had either of those characters, the Rumble or the Syndra, got ahead, that would have been really good. But because they were behind, they did almost nothing. They couldn't contribute the burst that they needed to the team, and as a result of that, they had no mid-game presence, which against a team like the one that was being ran by Logitech, you absolutely need. You need to be able to burst Pantheon as soon as he comes in. You need to be able to burst the Lucian if you can get a pick out on him. They couldn't do that. They couldn't even burst Nami.
No. I really like the bans as well coming through from Logitech this game. They ban out Irelia and they ban out Gnar. So those are, in 4.19, those are easily the two best top laners, and not really matchable, to be honest, those two in the top lane, aside from maybe Ryze. But Ryze had got nerfed prior to this patch. He got nerfed at the end of 4.18. So knowing that they're not in blue side, they want to get rid of both of those power picks, and that allows them to just sort of leave this top lane until sort of the last pick. And they know that they have the very last pick of all. So whatever they pick up for Snow, Logitech are going to have the opportunity to sort of counterpick it.
Yeah, and looking at the last game, Rumble really struggles against Gnar because they're both lane bullies, but Gnar is a bully from a higher range. So and also he gets a lot of health back. So if you do successfully bully him, he goes Mega Gnar, gets a flat amount of HP back, and he is able to sustain for longer. He's very, very durable. But if you look at other matchups for Rumble, he has a lot of really good matchups. It wouldn't surprise me too much to see Snow actually pick that again. Especially if you look at the composition that's coming out so far, having the equalizer thrown down on your team means that when Logitech jumps in, which with the Lissandra and Elise in they're likely going to do, as soon as they get on top of them, the equalizer is going to be putting down a lot of damage. However, there are still a few things that could get picked out. If Logitech want to deal with that Rumble, we'll have to see if they go for anything. Kassadin is one of the foremost things that we see getting picked against that if you don't have someone like Gnar available.
I quite like the lock-in of the Lissandra as well for Logitech. Having that Lissandra pick there, it allows them to choose to go with the top lane Lissandra there, or to go in the mid lane. And with that sort of that free roam, champions like that, and You occasionally see something similar with Rise, where he does occasionally go in the mid lane, but that's a very, very rare counter pick that would see that. But Lissandra, one of those champions that is quite comfortable in both of those lanes, because basically no matter who you're against, once you get to sort of level 7, level 8, you're really hard to kill because of your ultimate if you play properly, and you have basically 2 spells wave clear, which, like, how do you get pushed in against with that? Like, you physically can't get pushed under your tower because you just clear the wave so quickly. You don't miss a single CS, and there's not really any counterplay to that other than roaming, but if you can clear the wave instantly, you can follow any roam.
This Victor pickup is really, really interesting coming out of PKP. That's likely going to be in the top lane, unless we see Ahri go there, which has pretty much not been seen since she was released. When Ahri very first came out, her W did enough damage that if you were playing against a melee champion in the top lane, you could max it first and be really, really obnoxious. But since then, it got nerfed. Haven't seen it in the top lane, really. Most likely going to be this Victor, which is something that we have seen once or twice in, a variety of different, mostly amateur tournaments, but occasionally some of the higher level stuff recently. Obviously, it's pretty much only been amateur tournaments since Worlds, so you haven't had the opportunity to see that Victor get picked up. But it looks like we're likely going to see Lissandra going to that top lane. That's something that's a lot more commonly seen in the top lane. And CCB, if last game is anything to go by picking something that's quite bullying, Lissandra in that top lane, she's got a lot of relatively low cooldown poke. She can sustain her mana, so she can keep doing it with her passive. And Victor, he does have good poke in return, but doesn't quite have the same ability to keep his mana levels high, which means he's going to struggle to do it over an extended duration. Lissandra is also a lot safer than Snow on that Victor pickup. She's got the ability to use her E in order to dash away quite a long distance, unless maybe a good stun can come out from Snow as that particle reaches its final destination. So it's going to be interesting to see how this top lane goes, actually. It's not a matchup I've seen before, and I think it's going to be heavily dependent on if the junglers can make anything happen there.
I think as well it's going to be hard for... Well, it's definitely going to be hard for Snow to pick up any kills here, purely because Victor, when he's going for a kill, his ultimate does a massive amount of burst damage, but Lissandra is basically the ultimate counter to burst damage. You just press your ultimate and you're invincible. So if that is timed correctly by CCB, he outright wins that matchup 100% in an all-in situation. So, but again, I would have to agree that the junglers are going to be a big influence. I think there's going to be action prior to level 6 in this lane, but even then, I would still probably give the edge to Lissandra, purely because you have your E, the Claw of Doom, that you can use it as a gap closer, you can use it as an escape. It's so versatile, you can use it in any situation and come out ahead using it properly.
It is one of those spells which is just so strong, and we are going to be getting into the second game, guys, between Logitech Snipers and PKP. Logitech Snipers picked up Game 1 in a dominating fashion, managing to only die 5 times and have a 20k gold lead at 30 minutes. Gonna have to see if they can keep up this momentum, or if PKP are going to be able to, do something back towards them and bring it to a Game 3.
Yeah, and interestingly, again, we see neither team's running with anyone particularly tanky. I mean, we've got a Thresh and a Lee Sin on the side of Logitech. Obviously, both of those can build tanky, but neither of them really renowned for being specifically tanky champions. And we have, again, the Vi coming across from PKP. Again, not a massively tanky champion. You can build it tanky, but you do want to go some damage as well. So, interesting that we're seeing that in both of these games. Neither team wanting to opt for a more of a front line, just wanting to go straight damage.
Yeah, it is interesting, actually, and it really plays to the aggressive nature of both of these teams. Both of the teams last game were trying to make a lot of plays. Unfortunately for PKP, none of them really panned out, but they were trying to do things. They were trying to do things in that bot lane where they knew that Thresh Corki was stronger than the Lucian Nami. They were trying to do things in that mid lane where, Syndra, especially pre-6, can really make life difficult for, an Ahri, and just none of it panned out quite the way they wanted it to, partially to do with the fact that Pantheon, There was a really nice game coming out of Jay Kane last time. And actually, though, there's an invade onto the red buff coming out of Logitech here. Really nice play. It's going to stop a lot of early pressure coming out of Illusion, especially if Jay Kane can secure his red buff as well.
I really, really like this play, just because you saw them waiting in that brush near blue buff. Sorry, they knew that it was warded, but they knew when the ward was going to time out. They saw it get placed. Yeah, we are going to see Kane coming straight down for the level 2 gank. That's going to be the slow onto Skysley, but he's able to just dodge out from that hook. And Jay Kane actually taking a lot of damage from this. This is going to make his jungle pathing a little bit harder. And now, Illusion knows that that red buff was taken. He saw that on him in the bot lane, and now he's going to be able to go for that counter invade.
It was nice by Ysera moving up there a little bit, letting him know that he knows what Illusion's doing. If he wanted to try and come and stop that, he might have been able to. However, because it would have been Joy Azzy's Snow and Illusion versus CCB and Ysera, they would have been at a disadvantage. Had that kill happened in the bot lane, there is no doubt that the start that Jay Kane went for would have been very good, but unfortunately he missed both his resonating strike, and Thresh also missed his death sentence. So they actually fell quite far behind as a result of that, and Illusion denied the camp. That is such a smart idea when you know that the enemy jungler is behind. It's going to be so hard for Jay Kane to catch up now. He really needs to make plays in lanes in order to actually get back into this.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he's able to do that. I mean, obviously Lee Sin, a big playmaking jungler, we're actually going to see him just go straight back to base. He's run out of pots, and because of the damage he took in that bottom lane, it's going to force him to have to go back and heal up in the fountain, pick up some more potions, and actually go straight for a ward. Doesn't get any potions, picks up the Spirit Stone, so he's going to struggle in this jungle without that sustain.
It is going to be very, very hard, and thankfully, you know, the Spirit Stone does give you some regeneration stats. That's kind of one of the reasons why we saw junglers being able to clear camps and go gank and clear camps back in 4.19. It was something that Riot actually mentioned in their patch previews. They were talking about the fact that Spirit Stone was just a little bit too good. Jay Kane, though, here he's trying to do it. He actually got spotted out there, though. I don't think he realized that he was on the very, very edge of the minion vision, and now he's going to be wasting even more time. Jay Kane is falling so far behind, and this is really good for PKP, especially considering they were actually behind earlier on. Jay Kane, though, now not committing to it for too long, knows that he needs to get back to farming for a while.
One thing I would have really liked to see from PKP there is, because they knew Jay Kane was there, they could have just waited on the very, very edge of range, just trying to bait him to stay as long as possible. If he wasn't sure that they knew he was there, he could have stayed and maybe got something off that, but they kind of just backed away straight away, so he knew that that they knew. But now we're going to see Joazzy's in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to flash this one. There's the flay. The death sentence is not quite going to land. Nice little sidestep from Joazzy's, and Jay Kane taking so much damage. Still level 3 with no sustain. He may have to go straight back to base again.
Man, I mean, PKP are doing a good job of dodging skill shots, or maybe you could argue that Logitech are not doing a good job of hitting them. That's twice now that the combination of Hot Dog and Jay Kane have missed both of their Qs. It is starting to become an issue. If it continues to happen, they are going to lose every exchange they go for and just put themselves behind. They won't be getting put behind. It's not as if they're getting ganked. They'll be putting themselves behind, as Jay Kane has already done to a very high degree. So, you know, at this point, he's actually picked up a pink ward. And when you pick up a pink ward this early, you're either going for a crazy early dragon, which I find doubtful, considering that he's so far behind, or you're trying to make sure that a lane is clear so that you can gank it, which is much more likely. He is going to that top lane now, actually. Uses his sweeper. There's nothing there. Is he going to be able to get onto Snow here much?
Snow could be in a lot of trouble. Doesn't have any mobility, obviously, on Victor. Will have to flash if he gets caught, but there's the level 6.
Ooh.
Jay Kane still level 4. He cannot go for that. Victor will one-shot him if he does.
That was incredibly bad timing to go in for the gank with the level 6 being hit by Snow. Had that not happened, I think the all clear would have been sounded, but unfortunately, that ultimate silencing both of them would have simply meant that it was impossible for them to get a kill without CCB's ultimate. So, very bad timing there for Kane again. He is becoming further and further behind, although now he's actually trying to get an invade on. to deny a little bit of that experience to Illusion. Snow, though, coming down. We might see a fight here.
Snow could be in a lot of trouble here. There's the death sentence. Beautiful positioning again by Ho Ho Hot Dog. And just a really nice pickup for them, but now we're going to see PKP capitalizing on that. That's going to be a Ho Hot Dog going down. There's the death mark onto Illusion. He's still only level 4, but it's not going to be enough damage. He's going to go down a nice juke back onto the Shadow, but it's not going to be enough. And now Skysley is going to try and get this. There's the ward down. J. Kane going to jump to his ward. The bubble not quite going to land, but a 2-for-1 in favor of PKP there.
I mean, at first, that definitely looked like it was going to be good for Logitech. They had perfect positioning to deal with the flash that came out of Snow. However, you know, they bit off more than they could chew. They went for something they couldn't afford to go for, and it's actually put them even further behind. Thankfully for them, though, J. Kane did not die. That would have been catastrophic. He would have been so far behind.
And he was able to pick up a kill as well. So he's going to be a little bit further back into this game. Obviously, with Vi now picking up a kill and an assist, as well as being 7-8 CS ahead. Like, now that doesn't sound like a lot of CS, but in the jungle, when a lot of it's your opponent's jungle minions, that is a big deal.
It is a very big deal. Obviously, jungle minions, they give a decent amount of gold, and it's one of those things where if you're behind in the jungle by 10 CS, it's actually a lot more than it looks like, because the jungle doesn't get as much CS. Every CS counts for a lot more for them. And at this point, the only good news is that he actually picked up that kill, which means he might be able to help reduce some of the damage that actually ended up happening, you know, to that top and middle lane, or rather the middle lane and the bottom lane, as the support and middle lane died in that exchange. So the gold lead isn't actually significant for PKP, though. They're only 200 ahead. Certainly, it's not all she wrote for Logitech, and they've shown how good they are in that last matchup. They can come back if they get some good plays here.
Yeah, and you know, despite all that's happened, the gold is basically even. There's a 200 gold difference, which is essentially nothing, really. So this is still either team's game at this stage, and I'm going to see a lot of skill shots coming out in this mid lane. No one really landing anything, though, but Cannon Minion unfortunately missed there for Ysera, but not too big of a deal. And looking across the board, we're seeing, again, the same as last game, Logitech starting to pull ahead on CS a little bit. We see nearly a 20 CS lead in this bottom lane, close to 15, but Corky pulling ahead. Lat doing a really good job to zone out his opponent and pull ahead on the CS, and this could be really detrimental again for PKP if the AD carry does pull too far ahead, but we're going to see an all-in in this top lane. Snow going to get aggressed upon. There's the ultimate coming out from Lissandra. The stun ends before Kane comes in. That's going to be the Dragon Rage I would expect to pick up the kill. No, just going to donate that over to CCB. And that's going to be a kill for them in the top lane. They're going to have to push out this top lane tower, though, because PKP are going to answer with a dragon, and it is the perfect call from them.
I'm not sure they're actually going to be able to get this tower in time. There's only 10 more seconds left on Snow. I can't see how much damage they're doing to it, but that teleport is available. Does look like they're going to be able to take it. The minion wave is going to get here in time for that. But nice counter call there by PKP, picking up that dragon with illusion. Obviously, that's something we see so often. It's a very generic response when the top lane there's a gank. If the jungler is towards that dragon, they go for it. They did a great job of getting that. I wanted to touch a little bit on this middle lane, though. Ysera, considering that he actually died earlier, is doing a really good job. He's going in, actually.
We're going to see the all-in, the Deathmark going down onto Joazzi's. Joazzi's actually out of mana here. The Deathmark not quite enough, though, an illusion. Able to pick up the kill onto Ysera there, and PKP actually looking pretty strong in this game. Potentially going to give Logitech a run for their money in this second matchup.
They are already giving them a run for their money compared to last game. If we look at Illusion especially, he's doing a really good job in comparison to last game. Last game, he was 2 for 0 for 1, but instead of being at like 11 minutes, it was at like 20 minutes because he just couldn't get anything done in the early game. He was trying to make things happen, but Logitech were doing such a good job of getting away from it. This game, though, they're actually using Logitech's aggression against themselves. They are going for the counter ganks, they're going for the counter plays, and they're making such good use of that by getting these kills. So Logitech need to maybe get their vision control a bit better. Kane coming top lane again, though. Snow, oh man!
Yeah, going for the kick. Snow in a lot of trouble. There's the Lissandra ultimate. J. Kane picking that one up, and this is looking a nice little bit of counterplay for Logitech, able to even out the gold yet again, and This top lane Victor really not paying off for PKP right now.
One of those unorthodox picks that, if it does well, it's going to crush, because Victor, if he gets some AP, his ultimate is one of the highest damage abilities in the game if you land all of your ticks on someone. The problem is that we've got a hyper-mobile team coming out from Logitech, and in addition to that, Snow is not doing well in lane. Again, he is kind of disappointed both of these games, and if he doesn't step it up, it's going to be hard for this Victor to have an impact. Thankfully for him, kind of like Veigar's stun, the gravity field coming out of Victor is just such a good teamfight ability. It can single-handedly change fights.
Yeah, and as well, even outside of teamfights, it can be used to zone so efficiently. Basically, it means for 5 seconds, this area is out of bounds. None of you can dare to step into this area, unless you're running a QSS, in which case you don't really want to blow the cooldown anyway. So it's just such a powerful zoning tool, and that on top of the Nami Tidal Wave could easily put a team fight in their advantage, and a lot of lockup actually on this side for PKP. Obviously, you've got the Vi ultimate as well as the Charm from Ari, so we'll have to see if they're able to get that sort of synergized together in a team fight, but we're going to see a 1v1 between the AD carries here. Cat Latte not able to dodge out from those skill shots though, and losing that trade pretty heavily.
Lat does a lot of damage at the moment. He has got that sheen versus, Brutalizer being the primary damage item picked up on the side of Cat Latte, and it's going to be hard for him to win 1v1s unless he can, land a really big, minimum proximity buckshot. Because obviously each of those bullets can deal damage. There, only one of them hit at the very beginning of the trade, and it had reduced damage because it had already gone through the minions, so it didn't do very much to Lat. And he was able to just Gatling gun up, shred some armor, and burst back with a phosphorus bomb. One thing I find interesting about this game is that we haven't seen much pressure top lane from Illusion. And actually, when you pick Victor... Oh, hang on, though.
Oh, really nice second charge from the Spirit Rush, but it's not going to be enough. Just gets ulted by Lissandra, and there's the Tidal Wave going straight through the team. CCB is going to be the first one to go down for Logitech, but it's a 2-for-1 so far. J. Kane getting caught up in this stun now. The Victor ultimate doing so much damage. There's the collateral damage. Ysera getting so low. There's the ebb and flow coming from Skysley. That's going to be another kill, making it a 2-for-2.
Yeah, had Lat been there, that would have looked a lot different. But as a result of him staying in this bot lane, he might be able to shove up here. Depends on if his assistant stays around to help deal with Cat Latte here. But, what I was talking about before is that when you pick Victor with someone who has a good amount of CC as a jungler, the gravity field plus crowd control from the jungler can really dominate. But let's look at this fight again. Look at the AoE that comes out at the beginning from CCB. He does so much, but when the backup gets here, Snow does a great job of locking him up with that. J. Kane eventually gets stunned up, can't keep on to Snow, and they just snowball through that fight once Cat Latte gets there.
Yeah, really good play by PK. Good counterplay there by PKB, able to sort of lock that over. I really like the second Spirit Rush from Joaz. He's able to dodge out from the death sentence and keep himself alive, but unfortunately, there's not really much counterplay you can do against Lissandra ultimate when you're in range, so did end up getting burst down and not able to do quite enough before going down there. But again, this game, so even so far. One tower for one dragon. PKP picking up that dragon, and the gold completely even right now, but we're going to be seeing dragon spawning 33 seconds. This could, if this fight goes heavily in favor of either team, this could be a big deal.
That is definitely true, and if you remember in pregame I was talking about the fact that we needed to see a better team composition come out from PKP. I do not think that they have a bad team composition in the middle lane or the top lane. Had Illusion focused his ganks there, they would have been able to get kills relatively easily due to the crazy crowd control they have. An assault and battery into a charm is almost impossible to get away from. The problem here is that when it comes to team fights, there's so many good counters on Logitech for everything that's coming at them. Lissandra is amazing against Ari. Spirit Rush does nothing if you are entombed in ice, as she will be a lot of the time. Lat needs to be careful here. Good Valkyrie away. Charm's not going to be coming in quite yet. Needs to be careful not to get baited in here with Kane there, but what I was talking about before as well, all this mobility is great against the gravity field of Snow. They've got a really solid team composition to deal with a lot of what's going to be coming out here from PKP, and it's going to be up to PKP to get a pick before they fight if they don't want to deal with the fact that it's going to be so hard for them to lock someone up.
I love how fearless Ho Hot Dog is with his positioning. Like, Skysley is just there in that bush. He knows he's there, and he just walks straight up to him and takes that ward like it's nothing. He's like, "Yeah, come on, fight me then. I'm game. We're even in gold. I'm ready for a fight right now." And just not afraid of anything. I really like that coming out from that player. But both teams right now starting to hover towards this dragon area. Jazzy's trying to land a charm. They're not quite going to be able to land this, and the vision control in favor of Logitech right now, and they're going to start off this dragon. I don't think this is even contestable. Illusion not in a position to go for a smite steal. J. Kane is already there. Dragon picked up for Logitech, and I really don't think PKP should have given that one up.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of got baited in that mid lane thinking that because Lat was there, his team would still be in the position they were in earlier in case we saw an engagement from Joazzi's. It was quite a ballsy play coming out of Logitech and Lat specifically, but they made it work, picked up that dragon, and oh, if that bubble had landed, that would have been a Spirit Rush charm, but yeah. Thankfully for him, he was just able to get away from that. Trinity Force has been completed on Lat now. He's hit his mid-game spike, and at this point, I would not be surprised at all to see Logitech start trying to pressure for fights. They are hitting a power spike. With that Lee Sin, you know, it's the end of the early game, is when he can keep doing stuff. Ysera, though, oh man!
Yeah, we're going to see him go in for the death mark, not going to be able to get anything there. And I really like that aggressive play from Cat Latte. He knows that the W is on cooldown. He knows Zed has no way to escape the burst that his collateral damage can do. He was able to get the opener, and in an extended fight there, I really feel like Cat Latte would have actually won. Yeah,
the problem was that Ysera had Ignite. That would have been enough to secure at least a trade, but it was a nice engagement to burn the ultimate. Oh, is he going to get caught here? Oh, that Q was so close. Very, very nice attempt by J. Kane there. But what I was saying before, Ysera, because he used all his cooldowns, there was an opportunity for Cat Latte to put some damage down pretty much with impunity. It was hard for Ysera to really commit to that. Had he decided to do it, I think it would have been very, very close with that Ignite. Obviously, heal does a lot less when you have Ignite's Grievous Wounds on you. But very likely it would have ended in a trade, in my opinion, and he didn't want to commit that hard, so he ended up burning the Death Mark, which admittedly is not a long cooldown, and because he didn't have to flash, he didn't lose too much from that. He also had J. Kane nearby, so they might have been able to snowball something after that. They did get the tower, so Cat Latte did his best there, but not quite able to make much of an impact with that play, even though it was a very nice play.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there, so we'll take inventory of this game so far. 20 minutes in right now. It's been an incredibly even game so far. Logitech taking the lead ever so slightly with the fact that they have 2 towers and they've picked up 1 dragon each at this stage. Both teams constantly looking for these fights, but if we take a look across the board, we do have advantage in favor of Logitech. The top laner, big lead right now, as well as the AD carry. Looking in the mid lane, it's fairly even. Zed has died 3 times compared to Ari's 1. However, assists-wise and with the global gold, they are going to be sitting fairly even. And obviously, both of them assassins. They're both going to be, at this stage, able to just take someone out of the fight completely. So
they are indeed.
And we're going to see that. The charm does land, though. Ysera could be in a lot of trouble, but he's able to dodge the Orb of Deception with his Death Mark, but the Ignite is ticking. He's going to flash for the Orb of Deception. Not going to land, though. An excellent counter flash, but now Cat Latte in a lot of trouble. Both Ignites going to come down. Tag Hole's but a beautiful death sentence. That's going to be Cat Latte going down the collateral damage. Not enough to trade the kill there. And this could well be mid lane tower. But actually, we see Victor going down in the jungle as well. Kane able to pick that kill up. And now Skysley just able to dodge away from that death sentence. And out of nowhere, Logitech pick up 2 kills in a mid lane, as well as getting a nice trade. But a beautiful counter kill coming in from Joazzi's to make it a 2-2.
Hot Dog just got too hot when that Spirit Fire hit him. He was not ready for that. And that bot play was such good mechanics from both players. The Death Mark in order to dodge the second tick of Orb of Deception, which obviously doing true damage would have been so much. The Zanyas in order to dodge the E coming out of Zed. And we can see a replay of that kill that we missed, actually. They just popped Snow very quickly. Kane took a lot of damage, but not quite enough to go down there due to the fact that Snow is not really far enough ahead. But yes, in that bot lane, the flash coming out of Ahri to dodge both the shurikens, followed by the flash by Ysera to dodge the Orb of Deception again. There was so much dodging in that fight. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I really like that first off, that 1v1 in the bottom lane. Neither of them obviously going down from that, but Joazzi's was able to roam up towards that mid lane and get something off the back of knowing Ysera wasn't there. But we're going to see the Yumu's popped in the bottom lane. I don't know what's going on because the camera's not down there, but that is going to be Graves taken very low. But Ysera, again, not able to close down that kill, and Illusion going aggressive there, but Ysera going to be able to jump away with his shadow there.
Illusion? Oh, hang on a second, though, because in the mid lane, Lat's fighting.
Yeah, Joazzi's trying to go aggressive there, but Lat has Ho Hot Dog there to lantern him to safety with that Dark Passage, so nothing going to come off either of these trades, and so far we've seen a lot of this across this game. Like, both teams trying to go for these aggressive plays, but not able to capitalize on them properly.
Yeah, what I was going to mention before is that Illusion's actually going for a Trinity Force, which is a very aggressive choice here, especially when you consider the amount of damage coming out of Logitech. What that suggests to me is that they're looking to do a lot of split pressure, maybe some 1-3-1s, maybe having one member in one lane, 3 members in another lane, and Vi kind of roaming around, trying to get picks. That Trinity Force gives her a lot of mobility, it gives her a lot of damage, and it gives her the ability to kill towers a lot quicker than she would otherwise be able to. So it suits a split-pushing strategy very nicely. Because of the fact that in a straight-up teamfight, Logitech has so many answers to all of the strengths of PKP's comp, I actually really, really like that decision. I think it's a great pickup. Ysera, though, not going to go in. That would have been close.
No, deciding he doesn't want to go for that fight just now. Vi has finished that Triforce right now, so I mean, I like this pickup. 3-1-3. Actually, JK landing the Sonic Wave decided not to go for that one, though, but I really like the fact that despite how far behind he was, JK now 5-0-1 in this game. He had an awful early game, and he's managed to pull it back, but we are going to see PKP starting off this dragon, but Logitech are here to answer the teleport. Going to come down from Snow. He takes a little bit of damage, but the counter teleport coming in from CCB. PKP trying to pick up this dragon before anything can happen from this. They do manage to get it. There's the smite, but we're going to see Joazzi's get locked up by the ultimate from Lissandra. Now we're going to see the ultimate coming through from Victor, doing so much damage. But now Snow on the front line. He's going to go down. Latte in a lot of trouble. He goes down as well. 3 kills, 4 kills coming across for Logitech. They're going to pick up the ace. Clean ace for Logitech, and they're going to be able to shove down this mid lane.
This is why you can't play Ahri into Lissandra. Your entire point when you're playing Ahri is the fact that you're so mobile.
They're going to go Baron.
You can get around the fight. You can dodge things, go back in and burst someone. If you're against Lissandra, you just get tuned in ice, you can't move, you get bursted. You can't even use your Zanyas because you're CC'd, and it's just game over. They can't team fight right now. Unless they were ahead, it's so hard for PKP to actually 5v5 purely because CCB is so ahead of Ahri right now.
Yeah, and able to pick up that Baron as well, so the 300 global gold that they get on top of that. Obviously, this is the old Baron buff, so they get the AP, they get the AD, they get the health and mana regen, and it's just such a powerful tool. And now, pushing that gold lead to nearly 6,000 gold in their favor, and PKP going to be able to pick up a mid tower off the back of this, so able to capitalize a little bit on that, but really not a good trade for them at all.
This is very reminiscent of last game, where the only towers that PKP picked up, or I believe the only tower, was after they'd lost out significantly on something, and just they're kind of, they're only getting the scraps. Logitech's getting all the good stuff, and PKP are getting the scraps right now, and they really need to make something happen. I think that the route for them back into this game is to abuse some split pushing and make sure CCB is not anywhere near Joazzi's, and Joazzi's is just trying to assassinate someone somewhere else.
Yeah, so do you feel like with this Baron buff, Logitech are going to go for kind of a siege sort of thing, or do you reckon they'll go for an all-in? Actually, Light in a lot of trouble. Has to Valkyrie forwards away from the bubble. There's the flash, but a beautiful collateral damage. It's going to finish that kill off, but now Ysera in a lot of trouble. Actually misses his shadow, but nothing gonna come of that, despite both mid laners going all in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly one way back into the game for PKP. And in fact, if they get Ysera here too, Illusion didn't quite expect him to keep running away there. Unfortunately for him.
Snow getting aggressive upon. There's the ultimate from Lissandra. There's the kick from Lee Sin, but he flashes away. The The defensive bubble gonna protect his teammate. And now Cat Latte trying to get some counter pressure. He's not gonna be able to get a kill off this though. But actually, Ysera could be in a lot of trouble.
Man.
There's the Vault Breaker Flash. That's gonna be a kill. Assault and Battery picking that one up. An Illusion doing an excellent job for his team.
That's why you go Trinity Force. In a situation like this, where it's not necessarily best for him to be with his team fighting, picking up a Trinity Force gives you so much potential in 1v1s, in skirmishes, and in situations where you're not in a full-out 5v5 team fight. You can tell that PKP know what they need to do to come back into this game. They're playing it just right at the moment by splitting up and not going for a situation where CCB can abuse his, ultimate on Ari, or where the rest of the team can abuse their mobility and just really easily, pull Vi back into their team when she uses Assault Battery, deal with the gravity field, make it a completely dead ability. They're doing a great job of making sure that they're playing to their strengths and dealing with their composition's weaknesses.
Yeah, really, really powerful play from them. And I mean, looking across the gold, 5,000 lead now in favor of Logitech. Not quite as big of a lead as they previously had. However, look at Jay Kane right now. He had pretty much the worst start you could ask for on a Lee Sin, right? And he is now 7-0-2. He has his Lizard Elder item. He's got that Negatron cloak, because we're on the old patch, so that still exists. He's got a Randuin's already and Merc Treads. He's incredibly hard to lock down because of that. Because of the Merc Treads, because of the tenacity. He's going to be able to get away from all the CC that PKP have. And he's going to be able to do the damage and just disrupt the entire team of PKP. And it's going to be really hard for them to deal with that.
This is one of the issues with picking a double AP comp like this. We're not even seeing that much magic resist on the side of Logitech. It's basically only on Jay Kane, right? The problem is that because both the APs are behind, they do almost nothing now that it's 20 minutes into the game. It's so hard for them to make an impact unless they're hitting someone like Lad.
Illusion, we're gonna see Illusion go for the 1v1 on Ysera, and that is when the jungler can 1v1 your mid laner. Like, what is going on?
It's literally just due with the fact that he's gone for a build that really helps him in skirmishes, and he can crowd control for Ysera for so long that he can't even use Deathmark if he doesn't react to the initial Q coming out. So this is buying PKP a lot of time, which is definitely something they need. They need to get to the point where they're, they've got some magic penetration maybe, they've got some ability to actually burst the people they need to burst. But what I was talking about before, if you go double AP and you're behind, your APs do almost nothing, and they don't scale as well as they need to damage-wise. They get a lot of base damage per level, and that's one of the reasons why they're good in the early game, because they're sitting in that middle lane, in a solo lane, getting a lot of experience very quickly. But as it gets to the point where they're with their team, they're not getting enough levels to get the base damages they need. If they don't get the items that they need, it just means that they fall behind in damage. And at that point, you're saying, okay, well, why don't we have a tank on our team right now? It'd be much more useful to have crowd control. That doesn't need levels to scale. That doesn't need items. It'd be much more useful to have an attack damage champion. They get attack speed scaling. They're going to do more no matter what. But with an AP champion like this, after a certain point, you need items, and they're not getting them right now because they're not winning fights, and they're not being able to farm as much as they need to.
Oh, beautiful death sentence. That's going to be Skysley going down, and another dragon picked up by Logitech right now. The charm not quite going to land onto Latin. Logitech looking in a really strong position to just try and muscle down towards this mid lane, possibly even rotate down towards that bot lane, but just trying to clear out these tier 2 towers right now. And if they can get that, just the map control that they will get off taking these tier 2s is absolutely huge. But Baron is going to be up in 1 minute and 10 seconds. They may even just opt to completely get vision control of that area, stop PKP from having any chance of contesting this next Baron.
One of the things I also really like about Lissandra as a pickup is that she's really good at split pushing. She's so safe because she can root anyone that jumps onto her, she can dash away, she can use, 2 Zanyas potentially. But she's also got great wave clear. She's got the ability to use that Q, that Ice Lance, to just instantly kill a wave and then back up. And CCB has been putting so much pressure on this top lane. It's the only inner tower that's actually fallen for PKP, and that's purely due to the fact that CCB has been dedicating all of his time to that lane. It might be worth him swapping out to this bottom lane at this stage in the game, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was like if CCB went down to that bottom lane, obviously he has the teleport available. He would be able to jump straight up into a team fight, and I'm going to see the faces of concentration on the players here. But, yeah, I mean, the split pressure that they could get from having that, but... And also, it's not an issue for them because the teleport's up. Even if the Baron is contested by PKP, they can teleport straight up there, and it's still going to be that 5v5, so... I feel like that would be the best play for them right now, but we're going to see Skysley in so much trouble. A really nice tidal wave is going to save his life, but Joazzy's on this front line. Kane getting taken so low. He is all of the damage, but the Lissandra ult going to get the answer. That's a double kill coming across to CCP. Now Cat Latte trying to pick up a counter kill, but he's not able to get it. Illusion and Skysley, the last two remaining. Blinking health bar on Skysley. And this, with a 3-for-1 for Logitech, this could be the Baron going across to them again.
Oh, they're going for the top inhibitor, actually. I like this play a lot. Although...
Oh! The heal comes through and the Zhonya's. Really, really nice Mikhails comes through there from Hot
Dog.
Hot Dog, yeah. And gonna save his teammate's life. In fact, doesn't have a Mikhails, so the heal must have come through from the Corki there.
Yeah, that was a really nice play by him. Gave CCB the time he needed to get out of that suppression and use his Zhonya's. Had that not happened, it would have been more difficult for them to make this push, obviously. But CCB going back, there's actually quite a big wave here in the bot lane, and PKP pick up a tower just as a result of that. However, that is not a worthwhile trade compared to an inhibitor. We might see a desperation Baron attempt here from PKP. Everyone's going back on the side of Log, and it's really what they need to do here. Let's take a step back, though. Let's analyze what happened in that last fight. Obviously, Skysley didn't have good enough vision, should definitely not have been walking towards that river bush, or the side bush in the mid lane there. By doing that, it meant that he pretty much gave up so much of what's good about Nami, which is the ability to stand close to the front line, heal people up, get multiple procs of that ebb and flow, and land big bubbles. He had to back away so far. Tidal Wave was useful, but that was about it. Cat Latte came in way too late on the flank, but had no one assisting him, just got melted. There was a lot of misplay there, actually, coming out of PKP.
Yeah, unfortunately, starting to fall pretty significantly behind now. 9,000 gold lead for Logitech, and these misplays are just... They can't afford to make them right now. If they keep on with the way they're going, they're gonna lose out, and right now, just look at the vision coverage that Logitech have. They have 4 pink wards around this Baron area, and with the sweepers as well, they can easily clear out any vision from PKP, and they should be able to just completely secure this Baron for themselves without any counterplay, and in fact, they may even go and try and trap PKP in a face check.
This is part of the problem when it gets to late game, with these team compositions, because it's so hard for PKP to deal with the champions that are on the side of Logitech. If you get to this position, you can't contest the Baron. Even if the inhibitor was down, you would try, and you would fail purely because of CCB just locking up Ahri. Joazzy's is too important a person on the side of PKP for that to happen, and them still to win a fight. This is the second Baron going the way of Logitech, and now, because of that top inhibitor being down, the siege on the inner towers and bottom and mid is just infinitely easier. They don't have to deal with as many members of PKP defending it because someone has to deal with the super minions. I'm not sure what PKP can do to come back into this.
I think right now, pretty much the only saving grace PKP are going to get is if they manage to land like a charm on say for example Lat, someone really, really important to this composition, because I'm pretty sure the only team fight they're going to be able to win is a 4v5. So if they can pick someone off, then maybe, but it is looking scary for them.
It is looking immensely scary, and now all these inner towers are down. This is the critical point. If they can defend their inhibitor towers, they can buy themselves time to get some items, maybe get back into it. But if they lose another inhibitor, the chances of them winning drop drastically. There's a stat somewhere on the web, you can look it up. If you lose 2 inhibitors, I'm pretty sure it's something like 75% of the time you lose the game. At the moment, they're still in this, but it is close to being too late for them to come back. They need to defend this.
Yeah, and with Lissandra split pushing this bottom lane as well, it's just going to make it so hard. Lissandra can push so quickly. By the way, she can just clear away those waves and get that damage down. And I mean, has the teleport available, but with it being this close, actually the ultimate going to come through and gets obliterated. Illusion going straight down there. And this is a guaranteed bot lane tower for Logitech, and right now I don't think they can even contest this inhibitor. We're going to see CCB going straight in. He gets taken very low, doesn't even get to Zhonya's actually. A nice pickup for PKP, but that is going to be a counter kill coming across. No, it's not. Cat Latte surviving. The Zhonya's coming through for Joazzy, but he's not able to pick up a counter kill. The Death Sentence just dodged out by Skysley, but a 2-for-1 is not good enough for PKP right now. They need better than that if they're going to come back in this game. And another inhibitor going down. And now Logitech rotate up towards this mid lane. This could be a third inhibitor. No, they do just go for the tower. They're deciding to back away. The bubble landing. PKP not going to go for this. Hot Dog looking like he wants to continue the fight. The Death Sentence not going to land. This could be an inhibitor. And this extended skirmish is going on for so long. Cat Latte looking really aggressive. Not going to land any damage though. And not quite able to get the third inhibitor, but 0 towers available right now for PKP, except for the Nexus towers. Oh, but the Death Sentence onto Skysley. He goes down. Cat Latte going to follow shortly. He dashes away. Does go down, though. The Victor Sun, not enough. Snow goes down. A triple kill coming across from Lat. This is surely the game.
I think you are likely right, and I tell you, when your front line dies straight away like that, you've got no more tanky characters available, it is going to be nigh on impossible to win a fight. They did a very good job.
They go in though.
Coming down, but,
the Lissandra roll onto Illusion. Illusion manages to pick up the kill onto Lat, but there's the death mark. That's going to be a kill for Ysera, and I mean a valiant effort from Illusion at the end there, but it's not going to be enough. That is going to be the game going over to Logitech, 2-0, and they're going to continue in this tournament. Commiserations to PKP. They're unfortunately not going to make it to IEM Taipei.
It was a valiant effort. They certainly did a lot better in their second game than the first. However, they, I think, really lacked the composition required, or the pick-ban phase required to deal with Logitech. You could tell that Logitech had a lot of experience when it came to picking team compositions, purely due to the fact that there was nothing that Ahri could do that game. No matter how far ahead she got, Lissandra ult was always going to go on her, and it was going to be impossible for her to do anything. When you've got, you know, a Zed, you've got a Corki, you've got Lissandra, the amount of burst coming out there is far too much for an Ahri to deal with. She is not going to be able to get tanky enough to deal with that and still be able to output damage. Victor, towards the end of the game, started doing work. We saw in that fight where they tried to dive past the inhibitor in the bot lane, the burst coming out from him overlapping with Ahri was pretty huge. The problem was, without having that front line in Illusion, who had got popped before the fight, they couldn't continue after that upfront burst because no one could defend their AD carry. It was a crazy game, but in the end, Logitech, I think, really showed that they were the better team.
And, I mean, yeah, like, Logitech, across both games, I mean, the first game, Logitech didn't fall behind for a second. They were ahead the entire game.